Good morning. It's Jonathan Tacadena here from MPC Markets, and it is the 12th of May 2026, and here I have the morning wrap. So I'll just read the headlines at the moment. So looks like basically bull market conditions. The markets, or a lot of them, are at record highs. S&P up 0.2% to record a record 7412, so above 7400 for the first time. Nasdaq up 0.4%, Dow up 0.2. Only probably concern is that the breadth is narrow, so only 6 of the 11 sectors rose, and there's more decliners than advances on the NYSE. And now I have talked about the mindless green robot for quite a while, and that is where we're seeing that despite underneath the surface, there are a lot of stocks hurting, or the majority of stocks aren't doing well. If the large caps are moving and the money is flowing into large caps, the index will rise. That's just the maths of the whole thing. And the main sector that's moving it is the semiconductors. So the SOXX, which is the semiconductor index, rose to a new record. I'll actually bring that chart up. I haven't looked at that for a little while. So let's bring that up. SOXX. There we go. Boom, look at that. Wow, that's a massive breakout. So looks like April was the bit of a low there. So the index itself has gone from 320 to 530. So what's that, about a 70% move off the top of my head? Insane. And the leader of that is Micron. So yeah, like we're gonna pat ourselves in the back here, but I can't believe that we recommended it on the breakout here around the 420 mark. So it started the breakout or looking constructive there. And then it's almost doubled, basically. It's at $800, so an amazing move. So just in general, year to date, the S&P is now up 8%. So that April, that fall has been totally erased, and we've had one of the biggest rallies off that low. So here's the S&P sort of index chart. So you can see that massive pullback. And it was like basically to the date, so 30th of March, and there was like a massive end of month, what I thought was a window dressing rally, turned out to be the actual start of a massive rally. And you can just see the S&P has gone from 6,400 to 7,400 in a short space of time. So what's that, about a 16% of the bounce off the lows there? Absolutely amazing. Okay. And so I will actually look at a few other charts. So a few other things are at record highs. Japan's breaking out. Have a look at the Kospi. That's broken out. Singapore, not so much. China, not so much. Hong Kong, look, they're looking constructive. But you can just see it's a tale of pretty much America and everyone else. So America and a few select Asian countries. If we have a look at the Europe, so FTSE, not looking so great. CAC not looking so great, and the DAX not looking as great as the others. And as I talk, our market here, the XJO, this is the index, hovering around the 8,700 and not looking great. And obviously we have the budget later on tonight, and that's the big news. So obviously there's been a few rumors and leaks about changes to the tax laws. So it is not looking pretty, and I don't want to get too political, but it just looks like that Australia is going backwards. Like, who would want to actually, if you're not living here and not enjoying the great climate and the great conditions, like if you're looking from the outside in, going, hang on, look at that high tax rate. They're not actually looking to grow their economy apart from. As we said, we got a two-speed economy. We're either flipping houses or we're either digging stuff out of the ground, and not much else in between. And it looks like they're going to try and kill off the innovation in that space. Okay, so with that, the overnight news, the big one is probably it's maybe like a non-event. The peace deal that Trump keeps calling for looks like that's off. Iran is not coming to the table. So Trump called Iran's response a piece of garbage, said he didn't even finish reading it. So obviously Trump's proposed something, and Iran's replied, and he didn't even get to the bottom of the page to realize that they are not agreeing to anything. And basically, I think it's a stalemate there. Like while Iran has the straits closed, like why would they give up that strong position? And you can just see that. So with that, I'll just bring up a chart of crude. So you can just see here, it had that bounce up to about the 106s, then the fall because of the the peace deal and the peace talks, and now we bounced off the lows here. So I think, just in general, it looks like the WTI has formed a new range. If anyone's expecting it to head back down to 65s or even in the 70s anytime soon, I think you'll be waiting for a long time. And one thing I have noticed is that the back months of crude, they're all starting to rise now. So what happened was early on in the conflict, it was just all the near months. So all of the forward contracts all spiked, and all the back months kind of just stayed put, or in relative terms, didn't do as much as the front months. And now we're starting to see the move spread out to the back months, meaning that the market's just pricing in pretty much higher for longer, meaning that we're going to see higher crude prices for a lot longer than than the market's starting to price in now. So WTI, and obviously the other big news is the metals. The metals have all had a massive move. So gold is my favorite, but it is falling behind. So there's a chart of spot gold. I like to use spot because it's it takes out the the movements in the futures, between the months. But have a look at silver, high ho silver. So it's actually up roughly about 20% in a week. Silver. So massive move. Could this be the start of something even bigger? So you can just see silver's. We had that massive move up to that sort of 120 into the, what was that, late January, and then ever since then we've kind of just been hovering around the range. It looks like we're attacking the top end of the range here with some momentum, and I'm thinking that if it can get past that psychological, say about 95 resistance levels, and trade above 100, then we could be off to the races again. And the reason why I'm saying that is have a look at Dr. Copper. So with even though we do have an energy crisis, and the prices of the input costs of energy are rising, Dr. Copper is signaling something else. So usually they call it Dr. Copper because it does reflect the state of the economy. It just means that when copper demand is high, there's usually more growth in the economy, and obviously we've got the electrification thematic, and if we're going to power AI, we need copper. And if you need to rebuild the grids, we need copper. And look at that, that's actually broken out. So forget about this week here, but obviously that was the close there, and now we've settled above that. So this is actually a record close on copper. So I'm just going to zoom out here so you can just see it was just hovering around that $6 level. Anytime there was a dip, it got quickly bought, and now we've screamed on higher. So with that, I think obviously the miners should do extremely well. So while we're here, why don't we just bring up the chart? So it's 10:03, so the market has just opened. BHP, bang! Look at that, $60 on the good old beepers. Rio should be doing exceedingly well as well. Look at that, Rio broken out to new highs. Sandfire, let's have it. Not the best copper stock in the world, but here you go. So $19, doing well. And Wire, that's another ETF that I like to look at. It should that hasn't broken out. So looks like BHP and Rio are trading in a well of their own, and doing exceedingly well. And on the back of that, I think the Aussie dollar is doing well as well. So I'll just bring up the Aussie dollar, AUD/USD. There you go. So we're heading 72.5 thereabouts. Obviously, we do have the budget tonight, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. And then the only other sort of big news coming up is we've got the Trump Xi summit. So the two massive superpowers, or the two leaders of the world's two superpowers, being USA and China. The leaders are meeting this week. Looks like the execs from Tesla, Apple, BlackRock are traveling with Trump. And And on the agenda, they're going to talk about Iran, trade, rare earths, AI, China's sanctions, and defiance on refiners. So interesting with that. So with that, I think let's have a look at EART. That's a rare earth ETS. I look at that. That's breaking out there. And I might have mentioned this before, either on just chatting to clients or just in general. I've traded a few lithium booms and busts. So what usually happens? So let's bring up PLS. That's probably the cleanest one. Look at that. That's broken out to new highs. What usually happens in lithium booms and busts is that it's all about battery technology. And so obviously lithium is like the heavyweight element within the new battery technology, and that obviously leads. But the last few times that I have traded booms and busts, what usually happens is that you see a boom and bust in following metal. So sometimes graphite stocks bounce on the back of that, and then you'll see some rare earths. So just on the back of look at this lithium move, just have a look at some of these rare earths. What's ARU doing? Let's have a look at that. Oh, not too much. Lynas is the main stalwart in rare earths. Look at that, looking quite healthy. And the fact that it hasn't broken that new highs tells me that that there's definitely a trade there. As I said, lithium's already run. Lynas isn't at new highs here, and like you could probably risk a couple of dollars for a move, possibly onto 24 from here. So that's a trade there. Let's have a look at some of the gold stocks. So obviously Newmont doing well there. Let's have a look at BOAT while I'm here. Yeah, there we go. So nice pump in silver. There you go. So BOAT is my favorite silver stock listed on the ASX. I have traded it in the past. It looks like it's found the bottom end of the range here at 36 and hovering around that level there. So with that, let's have a look at how long I've been running. So I've been going for about 12 odd minutes. While I got you, I'm just going to look through a few more charts and see. So XJO, ASX 200, so the SPY, let's fix up that chart. Looks like we've had a dip here at the beginning. I tend to look at CBA as a bit of a, look at that, that's heading back to the bottom end of the range. Let's have a look at ANZ. So the banks aren't doing well. BHP and Rio doing other things. So it looks like we're being dragged down by the banks. And obviously, let's have a look at CSL. Oh, more new lows there. So I'll bring that into an hourly chart. Okay, so it hit a low of 93.64 yesterday and trading currently at 94.90. So not looking good for CSL. And in the same boat, let's have a look at Cochlear while I'm here. There you go. So that's actually quite stabilized. A gentleman that I like to listen to said he was buying it around 100. Totally different fundamental case from CSL. So I will keep an eye on that. I don't think healthcare is going to bounce anytime soon. So no rush there. But I do like the fact that one of my network thinks that Cochlear fundamentally has is a good value here. So with that, I will leave it as the last chart I will leave you with is a chart of Hi-Ho Silver. Actually, no, I'll look at Dr. Copper because that's the one that's looking quite healthy here. So a new record high for copper, a new record high for S&P. So it's basically a tale of two cities. If you're in the right things, you are enjoying this nice bull market. But unfortunately, that it's selecting. So if you're long S&P or long some of the Mag 7, long silver, long copper, you're doing really well. Long energy, doing well. Banks, anything to do with interest rates or investing here in Australia, not so well. So with that, I will sign off. That's the morning call for MPC markets on the 12th of May, 2026. And thank you for listening.
Feeling lost with investing? Meet Mosaic. Mosaic is MPC Markets' platform that turns confusing markets into clear, actionable guidance for your portfolio. Discover Mosaic today. Portfolio and trade ideas in one place for clients and subscribers, powered by MPC Markets.